The stars were silent, but the universe was never empty. Somewhere far beyond the Milky Way, a coalition of alien races had gathered. They called themselves the LER Union, proud rulers of dozens of worlds. They had seen many species rise and fall. To them, lesser civilizations were tools workers, soldiers, and slaves. They believed they were the center of order in the galaxy. But one thing always pulled at their curiosity: Earth. For centuries, signals from the blue planet reached their deep space listeners. Strange music, radio waves, television shows, fragments of human language. At first they thought Earth was primitive, then they saw pictures of human wars. Machines of steel, weapons of fire, rockets breaking the sky, and they grew curious. This species seemed violent, clever, and restless. The LER Union decided to open a gate. Not a peaceful one. They wanted soldiers. And Earth looked like a perfect source. High above the orbit of Jupiter, space rippled like water. A giant circle of light appeared, spinning like a storm. The gate opened. Alien ships slipped through, black and silver like blades of the night. They carried technology far beyond human science: gravity weapons, shields, plasma cannons. To them, conquering Earth would take only days. They expected fear. They expected surrender. Instead, they got silence. On the first day, they arrived above Earth's orbit and broadcast their demand. A deep, metallic voice filled the skies, bouncing across satellites and radios. Humans of Earth, you are chosen. Your armies will fight for us. Your world will belong to us. Kneel, and you will be spared. But no one kneeled. The world leaders met in secret. They didn't trust each other, but they all agreed on one thing: Earth was in danger. For the first time in history, humanity stood together. Not out of love, but out of survival. The aliens underestimated them. They thought Earth had no chance. But humanity had a talent the Union never expected. Defiance, it began in small ways. A fighter squadron over the Atlantic scrambled toward the first alien ship. They were outmatched, their jets like paper against steel. Missiles hit the alien shield and burned away, but the pilots did not run. They attacked again, suicidal, but determined. For the first time in centuries, the LER Union felt something unusual. Not fear, not respect, something colder: annoyance. Why were these humans fighting so hard when they had no chance? On the ground, cities prepared. Soldiers took positions. Engineers rewired old systems. Hackers went to war in the digital shadows. Humanity knew they could not match alien weapons, but humans had something else: creativity. Where the Union used power, humans used tricks in a hidden bunker under London. A general spoke to his staff. His voice was steady, but his eyes carried a storm. "They want slaves," he said. "They want soldiers, but we will not bow. We'll make Earth their grave." And so began the first strikes. Not with grand fleets, not with massive weapons, but with something smaller: human stubbornness. A transport ship hovering over New York suddenly lost power when a team of hackers broke through its systems. In Africa, a group of guerrillas used old Soviet missiles to bring down a scout craft. In the Pacific, submarines hunted alien ships like wolves in the dark. The LER Union was confused. Every other species they had conquered had broken quickly. Fear always won. But humans were different. Pain only made them angrier. Loss only made them sharper. Still, the aliens believed victory was close. They had not yet faced the full strength of Earth. In Washington, in Moscow, in Beijing, leaders looked at each other through secured channels. They shared information, shared weapons, shared strategies. For the first time in human history, enemies turned into allies. Because there was something larger than politics now, something larger than old grudges: survival. Above the Earth, the alien Comet Gate above Jupiter burned brighter each day. Alien ships poured through like a tide of steel. Some were massive cities in the sky. Others were fast and sharp, like hunting birds. The LER Union thought the war would be short. They had no fear of humans. but on Earth. The first counterattack was already being planned, in a bunker deep under Colorado. American generals sat beside Russian officers, Chinese commanders, and even leaders from small nations that had never trusted each other before. Old enemies now shared one table. Maps and screens glowed with alien ship movements. Everyone knew the truth. Earth's armies could not win in open battle. Not yet. But humans had a chance to hurt them, to bleed them, to show the Union that Earth was no easy prize. The plan was simple. Strike fast, strike hard. Make them afraid. The target was an alien command ship hovering over the Pacific. It carried hundreds of troops, weapons, and supplies. If it fell, the message would echo across the galaxy. Humans could kill giants. Major Elena Varga, a soldier with sharp eyes and a voice like steel, stood before her squad. She was chosen for the mission, not because she was the strongest, but because she never backed down. "They think we're weak," she told her team. "They think we'll kneel. We're going to show them the price of stepping on Earth." The squad nodded. Fear was there, yes, but something stronger burned behind it, anger. At night, under the cover of storm clouds, stealth planes rose from a hidden runway. They carried no heavy weapons, only small teams of soldiers and experimental gear. Humanity's newest weapons were untested, risky, and sometimes unstable. But desperation makes men brave. Above the Pacific, the alien ship glowed like a floating city. Shields shimmered with energy, powerful enough to deflect missiles and jets. To most, it looked invincible. But the humans weren't aiming for its armor. They wanted its heart. The first move came from below. Submarines lurking in the black waters fired torpedoes, not at the ship itself, but at the support drones swimming around it. Explosions lit the sea. The aliens responded, beams of green light tearing the water apart. But in that chaos, the stealth planes slid through, unseen. Major Varga's team dropped from the sky, landing hard on the ship's surface. Boots hit steel. The air was hot, buzzing with alien energy. Soldiers spread out, attaching small devices, pulse bombs on the hull. An alarm screamed. The aliens had seen them. Metal doors opened. Tall figures with pale skin and glowing armor poured out. Elyari warriors carried plasma spears that cut the air like fire. Their voices were cruel and cold. "Humans," one hissed. "You dare?" Varga raised her rifle and answered with bullets. Sparks flew. The fight was chaos. Moved fast, ducking behind cover, throwing grenades. Aliens struck back, their weapons slicing walls in half. Blood painted the steel red and blue. Human and Elyari. One by one, Varga's squad fell, but not in vain. Each second they fought gave others time to place the bombs. The alien warriors were stronger, faster, but humans were stubborn. They refused to die quietly. Finally, the last bomb was armed. Varga, bleeding but unbroken, shouted into her radio. "Detonate." The ocean below shook with thunder. The bombs went off, not outside, but inside the alien systems. The command ships. Core screamed, lights flickering like dying stars. Shields collapsed. Fire poured from its engines. From far below, human submarines fired their last torpedoes. They struck true. The great ship groaned, metal tearing apart, before it crashed into the sea in a tower of flame. For the first time, the LER Union lost a command ship. Across the world, people cheered. Soldiers raised their fists, civilians cried with relief, and leaders smiled for the first time since the invasion began. Humanity had drawn blood, but victory always comes with a cost. Half of Varga's squad never returned. She herself was pulled from the wreckage by the last surviving soldier, barely alive. Her body was broken, but her spirit was unshaken. When news reached the alien commander above Earth, his pale face twisted with rage. He had thought the humans were ants. Now, he saw. They were wolves. Small, yes, but wolves bite hardest when cornered. The LER Union swore vengeance. They would not retreat. They would not forgive. More ships came through the gate, heavier, deadlier, carrying weapons Earth had never seen. The war had only begun. But something had changed. The galaxy would soon learn that. Humans did not kneel, they fought, and they remembered. Dur watched the chaos with cold amusement. To him, humanity was still weak, fire that would soon burn out. He did not know that this fire was different. It was not weakness, it was rage. And rage, once lit, does not die easily. The gate remained open, glowing like a wound in the sky. More ships were coming. The invasion was only beginning. Humanity had no choice but to fight. But deep inside, something was awakening. Something the aliens did not understand. Humans had been fighting each other for thousands of years.
Wars.
Revolutions, rebellions, they were born in struggle. Now, all of that history, all of that blood, was turning toward a single enemy. And the LER Union would soon discover the greatest mistake they had ever made. They opened the gate to Earth now. They would regret it. The ocean still burned where the alien command ship had fallen. Smoke rose like black scars against the sky. Across Earth, people cheered the victory. Their spirits lifted for the first time since the invasion began. Humanity had proved that aliens could bleed. But the LER Union was not finished. High above, in orbit, the alien commander stood on the bridge of his flagship. His name was Varen, and his eyes glowed with silver rage. He stared at the wreckage reports, his voice sharp as a blade. Humans. You dare kill my warriors? You dare destroy my ship? His hand tightened around the edge of the console. Then you will know fear. We will show you what happens when ants fight giants. The order was given. Retaliation the next day, the sky turned into fire. Alien fleets descended, not with single ships this time, but with an armada, over 100. Vessels cut through the clouds, their shadows darkening cities below. Plasma beams rained down like storms of light. Buildings shattered, streets burned, the noise was deafening, like the sky itself was breaking. New York, Paris, Beijing, Kirono City was spared. Wherever humans lived, alien wrath followed. The Union did not want a quick victory now, they wanted punishment. On the ground, humanity fought with everything it had. Fighter jets screamed into the sky, missiles streaking upward. Tanks rolled through rubble, firing at anything that moved. Soldiers carried rifles, rockets, and courage. But the enemy was too strong. Alien shields deflected most attacks. Plasma weapons melted steel like butter. Still, humans refused to surrender. In Paris, a squad of French soldiers dragged civilians into underground tunnels while alien drones stalked the streets. In Cairo, old anti-air batteries from decades past were fired again, bringing down one alien ship in a blaze of smoke. In Brazil, guerrilla fighters ambushed alien patrols, disappearing into the jungle before reinforcements arrived. Everywhere, humans resisted. But resistance had a cost. Millions were dead within days. Cities turned to ashes. Families scattered. The world was breaking. For the first time, humanity felt the full weight of alien power. It was terrifying. In the bunker beneath Colorado, world leaders watched the destruction unfold. Their faces were pale, their hands trembling. "They're not conquering us anymore," one whispered. "They're exterminating us." But another voice rose. General Harris, a man with gray hair and sharp eyes, slammed his fist on the table. "No. They want us to fear them. They want us to break. But we won't. Fear doesn't kill us. It fuels us. We'll fight. Even if Earth burns, we'll fight until they regret ever stepping here." The leaders nodded. Humanity would not kneel. While the world burned, new plans were made. Scientists worked day and night, studying every piece of alien wreckage they could find. Engineers built weapons out of scraps, mixing human machines with stolen alien tech. Hackers dug deeper into Union systems, searching for weaknesses. In deep underground, in secret hangars, something new was being prepared. Humanity's first hybrid weapon. Half-Earth technology, half-stolen alien power. A weapon designed not just to defend, but to strike back. Meanwhile, above the Earth, Commander Varen watched the chaos below. His pride was restored, but his curiosity grew darker. He had crushed many species before, but humans were different. Other races begged for mercy. Humans spat in his face. Other races broke after one defeat. Humans kept fighting after 10. It bothered him. It unsettled him. And though he would never admit it aloud, it frightened him. On the ground, survivors whispered to each other in the ruins. They spoke of the fallen command ship. They spoke of Varga's squad, who had struck the first blow. Stories spread like fire. Humans can kill them. Humans can win. Hope lived, even in ashes. Major Elena Varga lay in a medical bed, broken bones wrapped, wounds stitched. Her body was weak, but her eyes still burned with fire. She had seen the enemy bleed. She had seen their arrogance crack. She swore to fight again. "The war isn't over," she whispered. "Not until Earth is free." The LER Union thought they had crushed humanity. They thought the fire was dying, but they were wrong. Because fire does not die in darkness. Fire grows, and the flames of humanity were only beginning to rise. The world was scarred. Cities lay in ruins, skies carried the smoke of burning towers, and oceans glowed with wreckage. The Union thought humanity had been crushed. But in the shadows of destruction, something new was being born. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, scientists and engineers worked day and night in secret labs. Pieces of alien wreckage were hauled in twisted steel, broken plasma rifles, shattered drones. Humanity studied them, tore them apart, learned their secrets. Dr. Malik, a quiet but brilliant scientist, stood over a glowing core ripped from an alien drone. Da-da-da-da-da-da. His hands trembled as he connected it to a human generator. Sparks flew. The room was silent, then the lights roared to life, brighter than ever. The alien energy had fused with human systems. Malik whispered, "It works. We can use their power against them." The first hybrid weapon was built a fighter jet unlike any the world had seen. Sleek, black, and sharp, it carried alien shields, human missiles, and engines that screamed with stolen energy. They named it Valkyrie. It was not just a plane, it was a message. Humanity was evolving. Major Elena Varga, still weak from her wounds, was chosen to command the mission. She refused to rest, refused to let others carry the fight. Her body hurt, but her spirit was iron. When she saw Valkyrie for the first time, her lips curved into a hard smile. "This," she said, running her hand along the steel, "is how we show them they made a mistake." The target was daring, an alien supply convoy orbiting near the moon. It carried food, weapons, and fuel for the invasion fleet. Destroying it would not only weaken the aliens, but prove that Earth could strike beyond its own skies. The night of the mission, silence filled the bunker. Soldiers saluted, engineers watched nervously, and Varga climbed into the cockpit. Around her, a small squadron of standard jets prepared to fly. They were slower, weaker, but their pilots were ready to die if it meant giving Earth a chance. The launch began. Engines roared. Jets streaked into the dark sky, flames trailing behind them. Above the Earth, the black void opened like a sea of stars. The convoy appeared soon after, towering ships glowing with LERE power. Drones circled them like guards, sharp and merciless. The humans attacked first. Missiles streaked out, explosions flashing against alien shields. The convoy responded instantly, plasma beams cutting the void. Several human jets were destroyed in seconds, bursting into fire that quickly vanished in silence. But then, Valkyrie moved. Its alien engines screamed, pushing it faster than anything Earth had ever built. Plasma beams missed, drones tried to chase, but the hybrid jet danced between them like lightning. Varga gritted her teeth, her hands steady on the controls. "Target the fuel carrier," she whispered to herself. "Make them burn." Valkyrie's weapons locked. Human missiles, now supercharged with alien cores, launched from the wings. They struck the carrier ship's shield. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the shield cracked, glowing like shattered glass. The ship trembled. Varga dove closer, weaving through enemy fire. She released the last payload to heavy bombs with alien cores strapped inside. They smashed into the carrier's hull. The explosion was blinding, a star blooming in the darkness. The convoy panicked. One ship burning, drones scattering, the others scrambling to escape. But humans pressed harder. The surviving jets gave everything, even ramming themselves into alien drones to clear the path for Varga. When the smoke cleared, the convoy was broken. Debris floated across the void, silent and endless. Humanity had won again. Back on Earth, the news spread like wildfire. People rose from the ruins with new hope. Children in shelters cheered. Soldiers saluted the sky. Leaders smiled at one another across screens. The Union could be hurt. Humanity could fight in space. But victory came with pain. Out of the squadron, only Valkyrie and 2 other jets returned. Dozens of pilots were lost. Their sacrifices now stories whispered across the world in orbit. Commander Verone watched the destroyed convoy with cold fury. His hand tightened on the edge of his chair. "These humans," he growled. "They steal our weapons, twist our power, and throw it back at us. They are dangerous." For the first time, doubt flickered in his mind. He had thought humans were animals, easy to crush. But animals did not build ships from scraps of alien wreckage. Animals did not bleed their enemies and laugh through the pain. Perhaps, he thought, humans were something else entirely. But pride is a heavy chain. Varen would not retreat. He would not accept defeat. Instead, he sent a message back through the gate. More ships, more weapons, and something darker. If humans wanted war, then war they would have, and humanity, broken but unbending, was ready. The real war had only just begun. The wreckage of the convoy still drifted near the moon, silent proof that humans had struck where no one believed they could. Across Earth, the victory gave hope. For the first time, people whispered not only about survival, but about winning. But in the depths of the galaxy, the Eliari Union had heard enough. Commander Varen stood before the Council of Eliari Lords. His head bowed, his pride burning. He showed them images of burning ships, fallen warriors, and humans flying with stolen alien power. "These creatures," he said, his voice cold, "are not like the others. They resist. They adapt. They defy." The Lord's silver eyes glowed. With anger, one spoke with a voice like thunder. "Then crush them. No more games. Send the Harbinger." The chamber went silent. Even Varen hesitated. The Harbinger was not a ship. It was a monster of war, an ancient superweep, built long ago when the Union first rose to power. It had destroyed entire civilizations in days. Whole planets had burned under its shadow. If humanity had touched a flame of hope, the Harbinger was meant to smother it. Days later, the gate above Jupiter flared brighter than ever. A ship emerged, vast, dark, and terrible, larger than cities. Shaped like a dagger of night, it blotted out the stars as it moved. Its core glowed with power older than Earth itself. On the ground, people looked up and felt their hearts freeze. News spread fast. In bunkers, in ruined cities, in the last surviving shelters, humanity whispered the same words. "A new weapon has come." The attack began without warning. Over Africa, the sky split with fire as the Harbinger fired its main weapon, a beam of red. Light struck the Sahara Desert, and in seconds, glass stretched for miles. Whole towns were erased. Over Asia, it released drones unlike any seen before, smaller, sharper, faster, each carrying weapons that cut tanks in half with a single shot. Over the oceans, storms rose as the ship's gravity tore tides apart, drowning. Coastlines. Earth shook under the weight of the Harbinger's fury in the Colorado bunker. Silence filled the room as the screens showed destruction across the planet. Leaders stared in disbelief. "How do we fight that?" one whispered. General Harris's jaw tightened. "We don't run. We don't beg. We find its weakness. Every weapon has one." Scientists worked day and night, searching through captured alien data, decoding signals, analyzing wreckage. At last, Dr. Malik found something. His tired eyes lit with a spark of hope. "The Harbinger's core," he said. "It is powerful, yes, but unstable. If we can overload it, the ship will destroy itself." The room went quiet. Overload the core. A suicide mission. Major Alina Varga listened, her face pale but steady. Her body was still healing, her bones not fully mended. But she stood, her voice sharp. Then I'll take Valkyrie. I'll get close. I'll hit the core, and I'll end that monster. No, Harris said firmly. It's certain death. Varga's lips curled into a thin smile. Everything we've done so far was supposed to be certain death, and yet we're still here. Plan was set. Humanity would launch one desperate strike. Valkyrie would fly with a squadron of the last surviving jets, while ground forces around the world would attack every alien unit they could, creating chaos to distract the Harbinger. The night of the mission, Earth went silent. Civilians huddled. In shelters, soldiers prepared their weapons, pilots strapped into their cockpits. Everyone knew what was at stake. If the Harbingers survived, Earth was lost. The launch began. Valkyrie roared into the sky, faster than any jet. Around it, a small fleet of human aircraft followed, their pilots knowing most would not return. The Harbinger loomed ahead, massive, unshakable, like a mountain in the sky. Its weapons fired instantly, beams of fire tearing through the dark. Jets exploded one after another, burning in silence. But still, they flew. Push forward. Varga shouted over the radio, "For Earth! For everyone!" Valkyrie danced through the storm, weaving between fire and debris. Alien drones swarmed, but missiles streaked out, clearing the path. The human pilots gave their lives one by one, blocking shots, ramming drones, making sure Varga reached the core. Finally. The Harbinger's heart glowed before her, a pulsing sphere of alien light. Hidden within layers of armor, her hands tightened on the controls. This ends now. The Harbinger filled the sky like a nightmare. Its dark shape blotted out the stars. Its glowing core pulsed like a heart of fire. Every city on Earth felt its shadow. It was not just a ship, it was death itself. And yet, humans flew toward it. Major Alina Varga gripped the controls of Valkyrie. Sweat ran down her face, her body still aching from old wounds. Around her, the last squadron of Earth's pilots flew like sparks against a storm. They were few, too few, but they did not turn back. "Keep formation," she ordered through the radio. Her voice was steady, iron-hard. "We make them pay for every life they've taken." The Harbinger's weapons roared. Beams of red fire cut across the void, tearing through human jets. One by one, they exploded in silence, vanishing into the stars. But each pilot died, buying seconds for Valkyrie to move closer. On the ground, humanity fought with everything it had. Soldiers clashed with alien troops in burning cities. Tanks fired at drones swarming above. Hackers broke into LERE systems, sending false commands to confuse their fleets. Even civilians joined, throwing Molotov cocktails at patrols, pulling down alien machines with ropes and chains. Earth was bleeding, but it was alive. In orbit, the battle raged. Varga pushed Valkyrie to its limit, dodging beams that sliced past her wings. Drones swarmed, firing plasma bolts, but her hybrid weapons spat fire in return. One drone exploded, then another, but more came. "Get her through," shouted Captain Ruiz, one of the last surviving pilots. His jet was already smoking, but he rammed it straight into a cluster of drones, taking them all with him. The explosion lit the dark like a second sun. "Path's clear, Major." His last words crackled through the radio before silence claimed him. Varga's chest tightened. But she didn't look back. She couldn't. She flew forward, straight toward the glowing heart of the Harbinger. Inside the Colorado bunker, Dr. Malik and General Harris watched on screens. Their breaths were shallow, their eyes locked on the image of Valkyrie darting through fire. "Just a little closer," Malik whispered. Finally, the core was in sight. A vast sphere of energy pulsing, and unstable, surrounded by thick layers of alien armor. It glowed brighter than the sun, alive with unimaginable power. "This is it," Varga muttered. The Harbinger unleashed everything it had. Dozens of beams cut through space. Drones swarmed like wasps, and explosions thundered all around. "Valkyrie!" Westrukit's shield screamed. Its metal skin burned, but the jet held. Varga's hands were steady, Her eyes sharp, she fired. Missiles streaked out, human steel mixed with alien energy. They slammed into the armor around the core. Cracked it. The second tore it open. The third punched a hole straight through. The Harbinger shook. Its weapons flickered. For the first time, the monster groaned in pain. But it wasn't enough. Vargas systems flashed red, ammunition low, engines failing. The hole was open, but the core still pulsed. Dr. Malik's voice came over the comms. Quiet but firm. Major, you have to overload it. A direct strike. It's the only way. She knew what that meant. No return. For a moment, silence filled her cockpit. Her fingers hovered over the controls. She thought of her squad, of the pilots who had died to get her here. She thought of the cities burning, of the children hiding in ruins, of Earth itself. Crying out for survival, her jaw tightened. If this is the price, she whispered, then so be it. She turned Valkyrie toward the core. The jet roared, flames trailing as it dove into the light. Drones chased, beams fired, but nothing stopped her. In the Colorado bunker, every screen shook with static. Harris stood, his fist clenched. Bleak. Closed his eyes and then light. Valkyrie slammed into the Harbinger's core. The explosion was beyond sound, beyond sight. Sun bloomed in orbit, tearing the monster apart from the inside. Metal cracked, fire erupted. Shards of alien steel rained across space. The Harbinger was gone. On Earth, the night sky lit brighter than day. People saw the flash, felt the rumble in their bones, and for a moment, the world was silent. Then cheers rose, in bunkers, in ruins, in battlefields. Humans shouted, cried, embraced. The monster was dead. The impossible had been done. But joy carried sorrow. Varga was gone. The pilot who had defied giants, who had shown humans could fight the stars, had given her life. Her name spread across the earth. Songs were sung. Flags were raised. Her story was told to every survivor. She had become more than a soldier. She was a symbol, and symbols never die. Far above, the gate still glowed. The Union still had ships. The war was not over. But the Elyari had learned something terrifying. Humans were not prey. Humans were not slaves. Humans fought. Humans adapted. Humans endured. And for the first time, the Elyar Union felt true fear. The wreckage of the Harbinger drifted in orbit, silent and broken. Its destruction lit a fire in every human heart. For the first time since the invasion began, Earth looked up at the sky, not with fear, but with pride. Major Elena Varga's sacrifice became legend overnight. Her name was painted on walls in ruined cities, whispered in shelters, shouted by soldiers before battle. To children, she was a hero. To leaders, she was proof that humanity could do the impossible. But while Earth celebrated, the war was far from over. The gate above Jupiter still glowed, wider now, feeding more ships into the system. Commander Varan stood aboard his flagship, his face shadowed with rage. The Harbinger was gone, and his honor was broken. Yet the Council of Elyari Lords gave no mercy. You promised us victory, one hissed. Instead you brought us shame. Do not fail again. Varen bowed his head, but inside, fury boiled. He swore he would erase humanity completely, no matter the cost. On Earth, the leaders gathered in the Colorado bunker. The mood was heavy, the room dim with smoke and exhaustion. General Harris stood at the head of the table, his voice rough. But strong. We cannot wait for their next strike, he said. The Harbinger showed us what they can bring. If we stay on Earth, we'll be crushed. The only chance we have. He paused, staring at the glowing map of the gate, is to take the fight to them. The room went silent. The idea was madness. Humanity had barely defended its home. How could it attack the Elyar Union itself? But Dr. Malik spoke up, his tired eyes bright. We've learned their technology. We've built Valkyrie, and now we can build more. We unite our factories. If every nation works together, we can create a fleet. Not large, not yet, but enough to strike through the gate. Strike through the gate, the leader whispered. Into their galaxy? Yes, Malik answered firmly. We hit them where they feel safe. We show them Earth will never kneel. Slowly, one by one, the leaders nodded. Humanity would not wait to be hunted. Humanity would become the hunter. Months passed. Factories roared back to life across the shattered world. In America, old shipyards were reforged into hangars for new hybrid fighters. In Russia, engineers welded steel and alien cores together, creating weapons no one had ever seen. In China, massive rockets were prepared, their payloads deadly and precise. The first human fleet was born, not sleek or polished, but raw, powerful, and full of defiance. Each ship carried scars of war, patched with alien parts, wired with human stubbornness, and at the heart of it all was the Valkyrie II. Built from everything learned from Varga's jet, it was larger, faster, stronger. Its wings carried her name, painted in bold letters, Varga's Fire. Pilots lined up to fly it. But one was chosen, Lieutenant Kai Moreno, a young man who had fought in the ruins of Mexico City. He had watched his family fall, but he had never broken. When asked why he wanted the role, he said simply, "Because she showed us how to fight. Now it's my turn." The fleet gathered above Earth, dozens of ships glowing with alien energy, carrying human courage. For the first time, humanity. Low-O-K-E-D. Not down at its own world, but out toward the stars. On the ground, people watched the launch. Soldiers saluted. Civilians cheered. Children held drawings of ships flying through the gate. For a world that had known only fire and death, it was a moment of hope. And then the order was given. Engines roared. The human fleet rose from Earth, cutting through the sky, leaving behind a world scarred but unbroken. They formed together in orbit, a swarm of steel and fire. Before them, the gate glowed huge, endless, a hole in the universe. Beyond it waited the LER Union, fast and powerful. Lieutenant Kai's voice came over the fleet channel, calm but steady. "They think Earth is weak. They think we will bow. But we are human. We don't kneel. We don't stop. We fight. Today, we take the war to them." The fleet cheered, voices uniting across radios. Engines flared brighter, and with a single command, humanity entered the gate. The stars twisted, the void shifted. And for the first time in history, Earth's warriors left their homeworld not as explorers, but as conquerors. The LER Union had opened the gate. They thought it was their path to slaves. But now, it was humanity's road to vengeance. The gate swallowed the human fleet in blinding light. For a heartbeat, the universe twisted. Then the ships burst out the other side, and humanity entered. Alien space for the first time. Before them stretched the LER Union's home territory. Stars burned across the void, surrounded by stations and warships that glittered like knives. Massive fleets hovered near alien worlds, their sheer numbers terrifying. For centuries, the Union had ruled without challenge. Now, for the first time, challengers had come. Humans. Lieutenant Kai Moreno gripped the controls of Valkyrie, to his face calm though his heart pounded. Across his screen, alien ships turned to face them, thousands strong. The radio buzzed with fear, but also with resolve. "They outnumber us 10-1, someone whispered. Kai's voice cut through the noise. "Good. Then we won't waste time searching for targets." The Union fleet moved first. Their ships unleashed storms of plasma, beams of green fire streaking through space. The human fleet answered with missiles, railguns, and stolen alien weapons. The void exploded with light as the two forces collided. It was chaos. Human ships dodged and weaved, smaller and faster than the towering alien cruisers. Hybrid fighters tore through drones, their engines screaming. Battleships cobbled together from Earth's scrapyards fired in defiance, their shells cracking alien shields. But the Union pressed harder. For every alien ship destroyed, 2 more appeared. Human vessels burned, their crews shouting last words before vanishing into fire.
Ow.
The fleet held, but only barely inside his cockpit.
His eyes locked.
On the heart of the enemy, the LER command station. A colossal structure, glowing with energy, controlling the fleets around it. Destroying it meant victory. He opened the comms. "Listen to me. We can't outlast them. We can't outnumber them. But if we kill the head, the body dies. That station is the key. Every ship, every pilot, make me a path. I'll finish this. For a moment, silence. Then voices answered one by one. For Earth. For Varga. For humanity. The fleet surged. Ships rammed into alien cruisers to clear the way. Fighters spun through fire, taking shots meant for Kai. Missiles tore through defenses, carving a hole through the endless swarm. One by one, human voices went silent. But their sacrifice opened the path. Valkyrita raced forward, its engines burning hot, shields glowing with stolen alien energy. Kai's hands were steady, his mind clear. The station loomed ahead, vast as a continent, its weapons firing in every direction. You think you rule us, he whispered, but we're done kneeling. He dived straight into the storm. Beams scorched his wings. Drones swarmed his tail. Warning lights screamed in his cockpit. But Kai pressed on, weaving between fire, dodging death by inches. He reached the core chamber, an enormous sphere pulsing with power, just like the Harbinger's heart. Missiles locked, he fired. Explosions ripped across the surface. But the core still pulsed, alive. Not enough. Kai knew what had to be done. The same choice Varga had made. The same sacrifice. His lips curved into a smile, fierce and proud. Looks like it's my turn. He pushed Valkyrita 2 forward. Straight into the core, the Union commander Veron watched from his flagship. His silver eyes widened as he realized what the human was doing. No, he whispered. Not again. And then the light came. The explosion tore across the void. Brighter than a star. The Elyari command station shattered, its fleets collapsing into chaos. Ships lost control, drones went dark, and fire spread across alien space. The human fleet, what little remained, watched in stunned silence. Then cheers roared through the radios. Impossible had been done. Dash again. Kai was gone. But his name joined Varga's, a legend carried in the hearts of every survivor. On Earth. When the news arrived, people poured into the streets. They lit fires not of destruction, but of celebration. Flags waved. Songs rose. Humanity had not. Only survived. Humanity had won. The Elyari Union, once proud rulers of the galaxy, had been broken. They opened the gate to Earth, believing they would find slaves. Instead, they found warriors. Instead, they found rage. Instead, they found humanity, and humanity had made them regret it. The war was not truly over. The galaxy was vast, full of other powers, other dangers. But one truth had been written in blood and fire. Humans were not prey. Humans were not weak. Humans were the species you should never provoke, because when the gate opened, humanity stepped through, and the stars themselves trembled.